Hey everyone, it's Pickleball with Tyler with Universal Rackets, and in this video we are going to be going over a full third shot drop masterclass. Once you get done this video, we are going to teach you exactly how to not only have a reliable but an effective third shot drop. If you're tired of missing your third shot drops, if you're afraid to hit your third shot drops, if you pop your third shot drops up too high or you hit them in the net, then this is going to be the video for you. We're going to be going over strategy and mental tips, as well as step-by-step technique and checkpoints of the third shot drop for you to completely improve your pickleball game. Once you get done this video, I do not care how much you hate hitting your third shot drop, you will be able to have all the tips and all the tricks on how to never pop it up again, never get it in the net, and make it a reliable weapon that you can use anytime on court. So make sure you buckle your seatbelts and stay tuned, because this is going to be an amazing video. Let's go. Okay guys, so before we get into the checkpoint and the technique and all these amazing tips and tricks, I'm going to give you one thing that's going to at least 2 times the effectiveness of your third shot drops. And it is, if you play with some height, you will be all right. Once again, if you play with some height, you will be all right. If you can play with a tiny bit more height on every single one of your third shot drops, you're going to win 50% more points. Now, if you listen to that tip, you're either going to close this video and not watch it anymore, or you're going to keep on going with me. And here is the reason why. I want you to think it's kind of counterintuitive. Everyone's so afraid. Play with height? What are you talking about? Are you crazy? I'm going to pop the ball up so my opponent can smash it down. Now first, how many times have you had a sitter this high up on the court and you were going for it and you ended up missing it? There is still a chance, if you pop the ball up at your opponent, that they're going to miss the shot. Also, there's a chance that you can block their smash back. So if you pop the ball up a tiny bit, and if you're okay to play with height because you know you will be all right, there's a chance that they can lose the point, and there's a chance that you can still win the point. However, if your ball goes in the net because you are so afraid of popping the ball up in the air, like many players are, if the ball goes in the net, whose point is it? Do you have any chance of winning that point? It is 150% your opponent's point, because the ball is out of play and the point is over. Don't end the point yourself by being afraid to play with a tiny bit of height because you're afraid that you're going to pop the ball up. Too many players can't hit a third shot drop because all they are worried about is popping the ball up in the air. If you play with some height, it's going to give you more margin for error. It's going to get more of your drops in, and it's going to make your opponents work for the points rather than just giving them the point. And let's demonstrate right now. So when you're doing this, clearly you are not sending your pickleball up to Mars. You're not hitting it super high. But what I want you to do is I want you to visualize an imaginary line about this high above the net. You want to go around that line. When you hit your drops, this is where you want to be aiming. If you play with some height, you will be all right. Where players go wrong is that they aim around here. They give themselves this much margin for error. Now, I don't care if you're Ben Johns. If you're playing with such little margin for error, you're not going to be able to have a consistent drop. And if you don't have a consistent drop and you end up missing it in the net over and over again, you're going to lose confidence, and it's going to be a downward snowball. So what you need to do, once again, is instead of going so low like this over the net, even though that was a good shot, it's going to break down in my actual game. When nerves, when big points come up, that is not sustainable, and pickleball is all about playing the percentages. Instead of having the ball like that, I want you to have the ball like this. Once again, I want you to have the ball like that. Notice, instead of being super low over the net, it's about it's about a paddle length higher than the actual net. That is where you should aim. Even if you pop it up a slight bit, again, remember, they have to earn their point. Now, thank you so much for staying with me this far in the video. If you can incorporate that into your game, you automatically made your drop more effective, and you're welcome. Thank me in the comments later. Now, if you want to keep on going with tips and tricks to have an amazing drop, then stay with me. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to break down the drop step by step, and no pun intended. The first step is making sure that you take your paddle back in the proper position. It is prep. Now, when you take your paddle back in the proper position, you're not taking your paddle back like you do with your forehand. All you're going to do is you're going to drop your paddle down in front. Now, it's really embarrassing. If you look up my first YouTubes that I made, and I was doing this one with the slinger bag, I was doing this drill with my drops, literally, when I went down, it looked so big, and I was going down like this. I would go down, and then I would go up. It's so cringy. I hate watching it, but that shows where I was in pickleball. And where I was struggling is the more movement you have, the more things can go wrong. Once again, the more movement you have with your drop and your stroke, the more things can go wrong. You need to be compact. You need to be concise. The less movement you have, the less things can go wrong. So what I want you to do is I want you to start limiting your backswing. And all I want you to do for the take back for the drop or the prep phase, I think prep phase is more, more logical than the take back. Because if you think take back, you're going to take the paddle back. But all you're going to do is literally put your paddle down and out in front. Now I want you to notice, the prep is the exact same thing that I'm doing on my dinks. And the drops are like the dinks technique-wise, except now the ball's coming to you probably at a more rapid pace because the dinks, it's super short, and also you have more distance to cover. But I want you to think about keeping a short prep. So all you're going to do when you're hitting your drop is just put your paddle straight down. Put your paddle tip down and keep the paddle out in front of your body. When you hit your drops, a huge thing is you want to make sure that you make contact out and in front. Where too many players go wrong is they struggle with their drops because they end up getting too close. If you take your paddle back and you're trying to hit a sustainable drop, and we're not talking about the topspin drop, we're not talking about the Ben John shovel drop, we're talking about the drop that many beginner, intermediate, and club level players. If you're playing club level pickleball and you're not playing professional or high level 5.0 or 5.5 plus, then this is the drop you should work on. And once you get it perfect, then you can evolve into all the other drops. But again, when I do it, I'm putting my paddle straight down and I'm keeping the paddle out in front of my body. Notice I'm never taking my paddle back. So all I want you to do is literally get a ball, and this is the exercise that I want you to do. I want you to literally put your paddle down in front, make sure it's in front. Again, it's not here close, it's not behind my body, it's not at my body, it's out in front of my body. You're gonna hold your paddle out in front, and all you're going to do is try to work on some drops. You're gonna put your paddle down in front, and then you're going to try to work on some drops. And all you're going to do again is teach yourself muscle memory over and over and over again that you're not taking the paddle back. Because when you take the paddle back, many things can go wrong. Now, by keeping our paddle out in front, now it is time for the contact. If you struggle with the contact, or if you struggle with popping the ball up in the air, probably your contact is off. And if you stick with me for this part of the video, it's probably going to make, instead of you really popping the ball up, it's probably going to keep it a bit lower. And again, make sure you have that keep it, play with height, you'll be all right mentality. However, why players go wrong is they think that you need to swing up. A lot of players swing up when they hit their drops. And also for the dinks, a huge realization for myself personally is when I started thinking forward rather than up, it helped me a ton. I don't necessarily want to swing up. I want to swing forward. I want to make sure that I put my paddle down in front of my body and then I swing forward. Again, I'm going to start in my ready position. I'm going to go hit my drop, put my paddle down in front of my body, and I'm going to swing forward. Notice, I'm not going up, I'm going forward. Now, how can we go forward every single time? It's an easy thing. All you're going to do is extend with your arm and shoulder, and we're going to get into our legs in a little bit. But what you're not going to do, and the number one common culprit of why players are popping their shots up, is because they're using their wrist. We're not at Five Guys, we're not at Shake Shack, we're not flipping burgers. You're extending and using your whole arm and your shoulder. And what I mean by that is players, they go like this with their wrist because they think that they have to hit the ball up over the net, which they do. But if you want to do it properly, you need to swing more forward. I want you to think about it this way. The more like this you swing, the higher the ball is going to go. The more like this you swing, the more forward or lower the ball is going to go. When you're hitting a drop, number one, you have to hit the ball and cover distance. So you need to hit the ball forward, but then number two, you have a net. Instead of swinging like this for a swing path, step one is swinging out, and then step two is swinging upward. Again, it's not just upward, it's out, forward, and then upward. So my paddle's prepped in the proper position, out in front and away from my body. And then I'm making contact swinging forward, and then I'm going upward. I don't go upward until I swing forward. If I go upward first, that is when you're going to pop the ball up so high, your opponent's going to smash it down and you're going to be afraid, and then you're going to try to go super low over the net. You're going to self-destruct. You're not going to like drops. You're never going to hit drops again, and you're just going to stick to drives. So you need to make sure that you're going forward first. Now, if you want to lock into this forward swing, I want you to think about push instead of swing. If I think hit, if I think swing, I'm going to start getting, wild. What I want you to do when I make contact with the drop is you want to think, and this at least helps me a ton as well as for my dinks, I'm pushing it forward. I'm not hitting it, I'm not swinging it, I am pushing the ball forward. I'm going from here to here. Notice, I'm not going again here straight up. I'm going out to the ball first, and then I go up. I'm putting my paddle straight out and down, my paddle faces forward, and then I'm going here first, and then I'm going up. I'm going out and then up. A great way to learn this and learn this proper swing path is to separate it. Make it step by step. There are so many things to remember in pickleball, but if you can break it down and teach your muscle memory in sequences and then piece it all together, that's how you're going to retain this information much faster. So what I want you to do is literally, you're going to get a couple balls, you're going to put your paddle in front, proper position, and all you're going to do is here, and then you're going to go here. Again, forward, push, and up. So again, you can either think forward or you can think push. I like to think push, but again, push and then up. Then once you get that, what are we going to do? We're going to make it one fluid motion. So you're going to push and then go up. Now, a big thing when you're hitting this type of shot, and this question might arise, what type of grip should you have? A lot of players, they either have a death grip or they have the paddle super flimsy. Now, if you're just picking up the drop or if you don't feel comfortable with the drop, you want a slight bit firmer grip than you typically would with a normal shot. A lot of times when you're hitting your drives, you can hold that paddle loose and you can let that paddle just do the work. But when you are hitting your drops, you want to have a slight bit of a looser grip while you hit. By having a looser grip, that's going to help the ball go more forward and less upward. Now again, the first thing that we went over is not popping the ball up in the air. If you play with height, you're going to be all right. But now we're clearly trying to lower it a tiny bit. And how do we do that? We hold our paddle a slight bit loose, not death grip, not dropping it like we're hitting a drive, but you're absorbing the pace. I want you to think that the ball's coming in with all this energy, and then you're holding the paddle at a specific tension that the paddle's absorbing the ball, like you're really absorbing it, and then you're sending it back. By absorbing some of the ball or really controlling it, that's going to help you a ton. Now, this might be silly, but the best way to learn how to absorb the ball's pace and get your hand and paddle like coordination together, you're just going to pop the ball up in there and you're going to try to catch it. You're not going to bounce it. This is teaching you feel, and many players go wrong. They pop the ball up in the air and they try to do this, and look, I'm holding it tight. The ball's not going to be controlled. It just like struck lightning like crazy. I might leave if I see lightning again. What you're going to do is you're going to pop the ball up in there, and all you're going to do is catch it. Again, I'm going to pop the ball up in there, and catch it. I'm gonna pop the ball up in there and catch it. How do I catch it? I catch it by releasing my grip. If I hold a death grip, I'm going to just pop that ball up in the air. Now we're swinging forward. Now it is time for the follow through. Now when we do the follow through, we need to make sure that we finish out to our target. And again, players go wrong because they're thinking about going up and they're not about going out. I'm not here, I'm here. It's kind of like, in a great way, and many players, and I used to start with all my drop lessons on the beanbag toss, but they don't understand the significance of the beanbag toss. And what I mean is when you're hitting a drop, it's kind of like you're doing a cornhole toss. If I'm tossing in cornhole and I have to toss the ball into the hole, look, I have to swing out and up. This is the best drill to do for the drop. Just work on pretending that you're doing a cornhole toss. If you don't do a cornhole toss, or if you don't follow through, and many players are afraid to follow through and they end up popping the ball up in the air, is because they go like this and they stop, or they don't have distance. In order to get that distance, you have to go out and up. How do you teach to go out and up? By just doing, again, the cornhole and the beanbag toss. So start going out and forward and just get some balls and go here and here. Now notice where I follow through. I'm starting with my paddle low and I'm finishing with my paddle high. Again, I'm starting with my paddle low and I'm finishing with my paddle high. You want to make sure, a great rule of thumb, and again, if you're 4 feet or if you're super small or if you're like 8 feet tall, Shaquille O'Neal, if you're watching this, shout out to Shaquille O'Neal. But if you're super high, it might be different. But what I like to think for myself personally is when I finish, I want to finish around my nose or my mouth. I want to finish here. Another great way to think of it is pretend that you're in water about chest height, right? You want to keep your hand above the water while you finish. When I'm swinging first, I'm in the water, but then when I finish, I'm always finishing above the water. By finishing above the water, that's going to ensure that what? Number one, I lifted the ball, it's going over net. And number two, by finishing up above the water, I'm not finishing here, I'm fully going out, I'm throwing that beanbag, that's going to ensure that I'm swinging forward. So by finishing like this, again, I'm not here, I'm fully extending, I'm rolling that ball, I'm also bowling the ball. You can think that you're bowling. I'm throwing it forward and I'm finishing above the water, or making sure for myself, again, I like the cue, that my paddle's around my nose or my mouth. Every single time. At Universal Rackets, we teach follow-throughs, and the reason why is because if you can follow through on your forehand, your backhand drive, or your serve, it ensures that you did the proper swing path. For the two-handed backhand, I'm finishing with both my elbows. For the forehand, I'm finishing with my elbow. For the serve, I am finishing over my shoulder. Why do I finish there? Because it ensures that I did the proper swing every single time. Now, the difference is for the drop, you can't really finish over your shoulder, you can't feel it, but if you finish with your paddle above the water, around your nose, your mouth, that's going to ensure that you follow through every single time. If you can give yourself a visual cue or really feel that, that's going to ensure that your paddle did the proper work and you don't have to think about it. Because when you think about while you're on court, you're going to get tight, because when pickleball is happening, when there's nerves, when there's competition, the more things you can think about and the bigger of backswing, the more things can go wrong, the more you are going to miss. You need to make your game compact, concise, and controlled. Now remember, when you go cross court, it's the longest distance between 2 points. You have more distance to work with. Also, the net is a slight bit lower. I feel like these nets are a tad bit high. However, many players, what they do wrong is that they set themselves up for failure. If you're not confident in your drop, don't go down the line, go in the middle. Go in the middle of the court. So you're going to aim to the center rather than straight ahead. Another reason why is if you're playing higher level people, they're going to be able to jump outside and like Ernie the shot. And if I ever get Ernie'd, it's like really depressing and you're going to be afraid to hit a drop again. Again, remember, a drop is building confidence. Now the reason why the middle is so good is not only because it's highest percentage, it's longest distance, but also if you're playing players, the middle of the court is where many miscommunications happen. Down the middle, heat the griddle, solve the riddle. If you can go to the middle of the pickleball court, maybe your opponents might hesitate. So not only you're having a high percentage, but also you're playing in the best favor because your opponents might hesitate hitting it. Now, how do we hit during the middle or anywhere we want? All you're going to do is finish with your paddle this way. You're going to finish with your paddle forward. Wherever I point my paddle to, if I want to go to you, I'm going to point it over here. If I want to go over here, I'm going to go over here. If I want to go over there, I'm going to go over there. If I finish with my paddle here, I go down line. If I finish with my paddle here, I go in the middle. And if I finish with my paddle here, I'm going that way. Now, when you're doing this, before we get into the feet and the legs, I want you to think about it this way. If you ever hit the ball in the net, if your drop ever goes in the net, number one, are you afraid to pop the ball up? You need to remember, again, play with height, it's going to be right. I spent so much time on that, and I'm so not sorry. I will continue to repeat myself because you need to implement that into your game. However, if you hit the ball too high, chances are, if you're not afraid to pop it up, chances are is because either A, you're stopping at contact, or B, you're holding the paddle too tight. The one drop over there, I think I didn't like it. I thought it was a little bit too high. So what did I do? I just loosened up my grip a little bit and I absorbed the ball a tiny bit. Another thing you can do is you can fully follow through. Many players, where they go wrong is that they try to get the ball in, but if you stop and you slow down your shot and try to baby it, it's not going to get, again, your ball to go forward, and it's going to pop up. Another thing that you can do as well is when you finish, you're going to go here. If it ever goes in the net, that means that you're swinging too forward and you're not getting under the ball. If you're ever hitting the ball in the net, that means that you're getting on top of the ball. If you need to get it over the net, you need to get under and below the ball. So how do we get the ball over net? You get under it and you lift it more upwards. If you ever hit 2 your drops in the net, the next one I want you to think, all I gotta do is drop my paddle even down more so I can lift it up. The next thing that you can do, and we'll start leading into it, is if I ever hit the ball in the net, it means that probably I'm not using my legs. If I'm not using my legs, I'm swinging forward into the ground. If I use my legs and I can get my body down, I can get under the ball and lift it up. Notice there, when I bent down, going like this and I'm going forward, but when I use my legs, I'm getting down into it and I'm lifting the ball up. So again, there are 2 main things that you can do. Number 1, you can drop your paddle downward, and number 2, you can get into your legs. So drop your paddle downward and get into your legs if you ever hit the ball on the net and you have to get it up. And remember, if you ever hit the ball super high or pop the ball up, you need to swing more forward or you have to loosen the paddle up. Kind of like you go back and forth. Okay, in the net, get more under it. If it's high, okay, follow through more or release the paddle a tiny bit. Now, the next thing that we have to go over is the height of the ball. Where do you want to make contact on the ball? Number 1, the best, most ideal place to make contact on your third shot drop is when you're moving forward and you're not moving backward. This was a hard struggle for me personally because I come from tennis, and what I kept on doing with my giant, enormous, embarrassing backswing is I kept on playing off my back foot. So what I want to do is I want to always hit a drop when I'm moving forward and up into the court. Again, I want my body going forward. I don't want my body going backward, and I don't want to pop the ball up in the air. So always make sure, again, you're going forward into your shot. The next thing that you need to do, and if you don't or you can't go forward, probably do a drive. If I ever get pushed backwards and I'm not confident in my drops, I'm always going to revert to a drive. The only time, again, that I'm up here, I'm going to move up for the drop. Anywhere back here, I'm always going to drive it. The next thing that you want to do is when you make contact with the ball, you want to make sure that you're making contact lower. You want to make sure that you make contact when the ball drops down rather than when the ball pops up. And what I mean by this, and this is a huge thing, the ball's going to come at you and the ball's going to come in and it's going to bounce and then it's going to come up. Where players go wrong is that they let the ball bounce and then they try to hit it and they end up popping the ball up. Instead of hitting the ball on its way up after it bounces, you want to let it bounce and then hit it on its way down. The ball's going to go up, then the ball's going to go down, and then you're going to hit it. You want to hit the ball while the ball drops. You don't want to let the ball go or hit it too early and pop it up. So essentially, and another good drill to do is you want to wait a split second longer than you typically do. The ball's going to come in, you're going to wait, and then you're going to go. Again, the ball's going to come into you. Instead of going forward really quick, I'm going to wait, and then I go. So if you can drill, or you can have someone feed the ball to you, or you even feed the ball to yourself like I'm doing right now, and literally just wait a split second longer and really like, now go, okay, now go. Like that, rather than going. It's kind of opposite for the drives. That's going to help you a ton. So feel like you're pausing, feel like you're waiting for a split second longer. That's going to help you get the ball to drop down rather than go upward, and you're going to be able to have a way more effective and consistent drop. Now, the next thing that you should do, and as you get more advanced, you might not have to do this, but you always want to be stepping forward. And what I mean by that is when you hit, you always want to make sure that you're stepping with your non-dominant foot. You want to always think when you're dropping, and a lot of players go wrong, is either A, they don't step with their foot, and what happens is they just swing like this and knock their hats off maybe, or B, where they go wrong, is they step with the same foot like this. What I want to make sure that I do is if I'm a right-handed player, I'm stepping with my left foot. If I'm a left-handed player, I'm stepping with my right foot. What I'm doing again is I'm stepping with my foot and then I'm hitting. I want you to think feet then hands, not hands and feet, or feet then hands, not no feet at all. So what I want you to do every single time, again, is make sure you are planting this foot down and then you're going up. You're planting this foot down and then going up. You're not just going here. So great drill to do to learn the footwork is all you're going to do is toss ball up, step and hit. Toss ball up, let drop, step and hit. Toss ball up, let drop, step and hit. Toss ball up and drop, step and hit. Notice I'm waiting for the ball to what? Drop downward, because that's what you need to do. You need to make sure, again, you plant your foot down and then you go. Now, as you start getting good with the drops and you get confident, what's going to happen, you're going to start getting lazy and you're going to start going like this. But again, by stepping forward, that's going to always ensure that your contact is in the proper position and your body's moving in the proper position. The last thing I want you to think about is getting into your legs. You need to get under the ball and swing forward. Many players can't hit the drop, and doesn't matter your flexibility level, but what they're doing is that they're bending at their waist. If I'm bending at my waist, when my body goes down, the ball's going to go up. Again, if I bend at my waist, when my body goes down, the ball goes up. However, to fix that and to be more consistent, if you can drop your center of gravity and get into your legs, now look, where's the ball going to? I got to step for that, right? It went in the net, so I could get under or step. Watch, when my body goes down and I step, now my body's going to be able to swing more forward. And remember, forward or pushing the ball is what you're looking for. Now, maybe the ball's rolling over and I got exposed. That ball didn't go over the net. That's okay, I had to get under it more. But again, you're going to be more prone to pop the ball up if you don't get in your legs, because when your body goes down, you go up. If you can get in your legs and drop your center of gravity, now you're going to be going more forward. Remember, you got to get under the ball and forward, and you have to finish upward. So if you can incorporate all these different things that we went over, if you can adjust your grip, if you can play with height and you're going to be all right, if you can make sure that you're taking drops around here rather than back here, if you can make sure that you step with your front foot, you wait a split second to hit the ball at its apex, you make sure that your take back or your prep phase is in the proper position, your contact is out in front, you're pushing the ball forward, and you're following through like this, you're going to be way more effective, more efficient, and you're going to have better third shot drops. Now, the best way to support this channel, it isn't to like, it isn't to subscribe, it's not even to leave a tip. I mean, if you want to leave a thanks, that's good. It is to share with your pickleball friends. Everybody is in a pickleball group chat. The best way to support this channel is to share this video to your pickleball group chat. So have a good one, happy hitting, and we will see you guys next time on court.